So how long do you run an experiment for? How long does it take to actually get a result? At what point do you give up? Let's talk about that next. This is going to be a really quick lecture. I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about how to decide when an experiment is over. So if someone in your company has developed a new experiment, a new change that they want to test, they have a vested interest in seeing that succeed. They put a lot of work and time into it and they want it to be successful. And maybe you've gone weeks and you still haven't reached a significant outcome on this experiment, positive or negative. They're going to want to keep running it pretty much indefinitely in hopes that it will eventually show a positive result. It's up to you to draw the line on how long you're willing to run this experiment for. So how do I know when I'm done running an A/B test? It's not always straightforward to predict how long it will take before you can achieve a significant result. But obviously, if you have achieved a significant result, your p-value has gone below 1% or 5% or whatever threshold you've chosen, you're done. And at that point, you can pull the plug on the experiment and either roll out the change more widely or remove it because it was actually having a negative effect. You can always tell people to go back and try again, use what they learned from the experiment to maybe try it again with some changes, and that's fine. Soften the blow a little bit. But the other thing that might happen is it's just not converging at all. And if you're not seeing any trends over time in the p-value, it's probably a good sign that you're not going to see this converge anytime soon, that it's just not going to have enough of an impact on behavior to even be measurable no matter how long you run it. So what you want to do is every day plot on a graph for a given experiment the p-value, the t-statistic, whatever you're using to measure the success of this experiment. And if you're seeing something that looks promising, you will see that p-value start to come down over time. So the more data it gets, the more significant your results should be getting. Now, if you see instead a flat line or a line that's all over the place, that kind of tells you that that p-value is not going anywhere. And it doesn't matter how long you run this experiment, it's just not going to happen. So you need to agree up front that in the case where you're not seeing any trends in p-values, what's the longest you're willing to run this experiment for? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? Keep in mind that having more than one experiment running on the site at once can conflate your results. So time spent on experiments are a valuable commodity. You can't make more time in the world. So you can only really run as many experiments as you have time to run them in with a given year. So if you spend too much time running one experiment that really has no chance of converging on a result, that's an opportunity you've missed to run another potentially more valuable experiment during that time that you were wasting on this other one. So it's important to draw the line on experiment lengths because time is a very precious commodity when you're running A/B tests on a website, at least as long as you have more ideas than you have time, which hopefully is the case. And that's it. It's a little parable about make sure you go in with agreed upper bounds on how long you're going to spend testing a given experiment. And if you're not seeing trends in the p-value that look encouraging, it's time to pull the plug at that point. So remember, time is a precious commodity when you're experimenting on a website. You can only run so many experiments at once, usually one, and the time that you waste trying to wait for a result that will never come on an experiment is time you could have spent trying an experiment that actually did make a positive difference. So choose your time limits wisely.